Hello, everyone. I'm welcomes you all to our webinar series, the B School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm your host, Kalyani, for today's webinar. So in today's session, our topic is IIFT, campus life, placements, and academics. So in this webinar, you'll get the insider's view of IIFT and find out all about the personal journey of the 4 panelists who have joined us today from IIFT, tips on IIFT test prep, after CAT prep, how does an MBA in international business give you an edge in the job market, the campus life, the academic schedule and faculty at IIFT, placement process, who are the recruiters at the campus, and more. So let's welcome our speakers today. We have from our current students, Kavya Johari, she is MBA IB 2024 batch. We have Tejas Mishra, he is MBA IB 2024 batch. We have Divyansh Sandwar, he is MBA IB 2021 batch. He's a product manager at Reliance Jio. Then we have Mahendra Kumar YVK. He's MBA International Business 2021 batch. He's a consultant with one of the big fours. Welcome all of you guys, and thank you so much for being here today for this session. So let's begin from your IIFT score. So how was how much did you score? How many months did you prepare for? So from CAT to IIFT, now we all aware that the test for IIFT will be in December, and there's not much time between the CAT and IIFT tests. So, so yeah, if you guys can also talk about how did you prepare from CAT to IIFT, for IIFT, anything specific to IIFT, and was there anything in particular that you did to get success? So we can start from, and also your educational background, like I think, yeah, Kavya, you're from finance, the rest, all 3 of you are from engineering background, I believe, yeah, BTech. Yeah, okay, so we can start from Kavya, then Tejas, then Divyansh, then Mahendra. So your IIFT score, and from CAT to, I mean, how much and how exactly was your journey between CAT and IIFT? Yeah, Kavya.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So my background is I studied from Narsi Monji, and I did a BCom with specialization in financial accounting and auditing. And thereafter I worked with Deloitte in consulting/finance domain. And as we all know that between CAT and IFT, we get like a week to
Yeah,
prepare.
yeah.
So one thing that I found similar was that the preparation for both of them is whatever you prepare for CAT will help you out in the IFT paper as well.
Mm.
The separate sections that we need to particularly focus would be GK. And if you're very intent on cracking the IFT, I'd say that you should read simultaneously along with whenever you're preparing. 1 week for GK is not enough. So being aware of what is going on and reading newspapers would definitely help you out in the long run. However, that 1 week that we have can be leveraged for taking mocks as well. So IMS, I think, gives us 5 mocks. So what I did was I took a couple of mocks before CAT so that I have that idea that what I'm getting into. Since IFT has sectional, we need to focus on the cutoffs as well.
Mm.
First, we were told that we need to clear the sectional cutoffs first, and then we can go about aiming in one of the sections and scoring the highest that we can.
Okay.
So that is what I practiced, and then the remaining 3 mocks I took in the week that we had between CAT and IFT. So that
Okay.
worked out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Tejas. Oh, yeah. Kavya, what was your IFT score? Can you share it or?
I got a 96th percentile
Okay.
with 98th percentile in work.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Tejas. Next. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Hi. So I think the journey from CAT to IFT is pretty much similar because the content that we were learning, especially towards the end, and since I was with IMS throughout the program, I
Mm.
think the content that we were learning towards the end was focused more on the non-CAT bits, right? So I was getting familiarized with that as we approached CAT, and I had this. I mean, I was approaching CAT in the sense that the last week before CAT, I took it easy because I wanted to relax a bit, with that mindset, I wanted to go in. So I think because of that, I got some time to prep for IIFT back then. I think
Mm,
similarly, I gave two mocks before going
mm,
in, and
mm,
those two mocks were only to figure out that everything I knew about CAT is not going to work here. So
mm.
my score was 99.6 percentile. Uh, and to be very honest, there is a factor of luck involved here. I
Okay.
can see because GK was the only part I was genuinely afraid of. And
Mm,
everybody should be afraid of GK because there is a factor of luck which plays into it.
okay.
Thankfully, a lot of the questions that I knew, that I'd read
Mm,
about, that I studied, affairs that had concerned me or affairs that had interested me over the years, they came up in
mm,
the exam. And so
okay.
that's how I was able to actually make it through. Because when I
Mm,
stepped out of the exam, I
mm,
distinctly remember the DILR section had gone horribly wrong for me.
okay.
Similarly, the GK in my head had gone horribly wrong. But
Okay.
the point is, yeah, luck did help me a bit out there.
Mm,
And I want everybody who gives IIFT's exam to keep this in mind that very few people and only very serious candidates give IIFT. So
okay.
the chances of success are very high. All you need to do is make sure that you don't go in with the same mindset as CAT. You focus on speed. You focus because you can even switch between sections in IIFT. So
Yeah.
be very prepared for the exam. Be very familiarized with the how the flow of the exam goes, and in your mind, keep a pattern for yourself. And trust me, IIFT's exam is not a difficult one to crack. Only a bit of practice and yeah, a tad bit of luck would definitely help.
Okay. Yeah. Divyansh.
Yeah, hello everyone.
And
So,
Divyansh, you can also talk a little bit about the registration, the form filling as well, if there is anything specific that they should keep in mind, because the deadline for form filling for IFT is 14th November. So I'm sure some of our attendees probably the last minute time who are probably thinking, okay, yeah, I mean maybe we should fill it up as well. So yeah, if there is anything that they should keep in mind for that as well. Yeah, Mahendra, this goes for you as well. Yeah.
sure. So, I mean, in my case, me and Mahendra, so I believe we were the
Yeah.
last batch who were, giving the IFT exam on a pen paper mode.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if the sectional cutoffs or the sections might specify, but yeah, from a preparation standpoint, definitely whatever you prepare for CAT will definitely help you out in IIFT. And
Hmm,
as Tejas and Kavya have rightly pointed out, GK section plays a key vital role here
hmm,
because that is something that is totally out of syllabus with respect to any other MBA exams that you're appearing for. So
hmm, hmm.
we need to take that seriously. And what I did, at least in my time, was I was going through the various compendiums that were shared by IMS. That
Okay.
actually really helped me quite a lot because a few questions were bang on.
Hmm,
uh, they were kind of helping me to think in the right direction and then at least give the right shot, right? So it's not necessary that you appear or you answer all the questions, but answer those questions that you're really certain of. You don't really
hmm,
want to miss the sectional cutoff in GK section, to be very honest. I mean, that'll be the unluckiest possible thing that you can ever dream of, right?
hmm.
Performing well in all the other sections and messing it up on GK.
Right,
And
right.
my percentile was 99.954. And
Okay.
with that, I was very sure that, if I'm not sure about a particular question in the entire set, I won't go for it, right? I'd
Hmm,
rather move on to the next set. I'll look on for those questions which are solvable for me at that point of time, because the time limit obviously is there.
hmm,
So all of that, those factors, you need to be very self-aware about which sections you're approaching and how much time are you dedicating to it, because there are quite a number of sections. Okay.
hmm.
And that essentially is something that you should definitely keep in mind. And please do fill your forms well before the last date,
Hmm,
because
hmm,
given that, if you get through the process, you'll understand there is this saying that goes in IFT that deadlines are sacrosanct. Okay.
hmm.
Please do. You'll understand what I mean. But
Okay. Okay.
please do not miss the deadlines, because no one is going to help you then. Kavya, Tejas, there'll be wonderful people to help you out if you get. Then I'm not sure if you miss the deadlines, they'll be that wonderful then. So,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
Mahendra can take over now.
Yeah, yeah, Mahendra. Yeah.
Hi everyone. Uh, Thanks to be part of here. So, firstly, starting off with, I'm an engineer. and then had work ex, then moving to MBA. So my score was 98.8 with quant and DALR in a very good score, like 99 plus. So engineer are good at maths. That is what they say.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yes.
not sure. Okay. So the one thing that I want to add, adding on to Divyan's point is like never fill a form on the day of deadline, and just be sure about your 10th, 12th, and undergrad marks that you're filling up. So you might be in a hurry of filling it in scale of 10, but they might ask you for a percentage, like IIFT asks in percentages. So
Okay.
make sure you fill it up to two decimal points. Everything matters at the end. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then as per GK is one big thing that you obviously like. See, IMS shares that strategy of IIFT like around 1 month before. I am sure because I followed it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so follow that as is. There is nothing much, it's not some rocket science. But then there is one thing. IMS also releases the compendium, and then there are short GK quizzes on areas where you are comfortable with. Like
Okay.
it's not just a big thing like you need to spend a 1 hour of exam. You just take a 15 minutes of exam, and then even though if you're not sure of answer, just try answering every question on those mock exams. Get to know the right answers soon after your exam. And
Okay.
then if you're able to make a story out of any of the international relations that are happening currently, and all those compendiums are not like stories. Okay, you need to really focus on it. So don't read entire compendium at once. Like after you give one mock of cat, or sectional mock of cat, you just read of 2 to 3 pages. Yeah, that will be fine.
Okay.
And yeah, apart from that, the process all is very good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Tell me something. All of you, you guys already knew while you guys were preparing for CAT that you'll be also sitting for IIFT. Was it? Yes, for all.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
the thing is, like, if there is obviously, in 1 week or even in 15 days, one cannot prepare for GK, right? Because that is something that you have to keep reading throughout. So so anyone who is right now, okay, obviously sitting for CAT, but is also now all of a sudden has decided, okay, let me also take IIFT test. So now what do they do for the GK section? How do they handle? Is there any tips for that? Tejas, can you say something on that?
Yeah, sure, Kalyani. So I think question is very difficult one because and a lot of people actually have this question before the exam. A couple of my friends were at this spot as well. So what I can say is at least for the exam, right? A lot of it is current affairs. I think around 40% of the questions will be current affairs and around 60% would be general knowledge. So I think the current affairs part is something that can be taken care of pretty easily because apart from the compendiums, I think on IMS's page we have that weekly updates as well, right? So every week updates about around the world they're uploaded on IMS's website. So I think that would be a very good start.
Okay.
And a couple of questions that repeatedly come up. Again, these things are specifically mentioned in the compendiums because I remember that IMS compendiums had a lot of information on various groups that India was a part of, economic, military, and I think 2 to 3 questions are definitely coming every year in IIFT papers from these sections, right? Uh, then there is the prizes, right? So what did India win? Which Nobel? Who won the Nobel Prize? Who won the Pulitzer Prize? I think these are standard questions. These are a pool of questions from which you'll definitely get questions in the exam. Right? These are some things that should definitely be covered. And the cutoff for GK is such that I think for me, if I had gotten 5 questions correct and without a single question wrong, that would have been sufficient for me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
go with that mindset that you don't need to attempt a lot of questions. Attempt as much as you know, and try to cover current affairs. If you don't know GK, let it be. Don't
Yeah.
take a shot in the dark. That's never going to work out for you.
Okay. Okay.
So usually all the CAT aspirants will be reading newspapers every day for their verbal. So like obviously they will be knowing about all the current affairs. So it's not something really new coming into IIFT's question paper. So and obviously when there is a gap of only 1 week, you can see that all the aspirants will be in that form itself. So the cutoff will be relatively same. So you don't need to really worry and take that brunt ki mera GK kya hoga. Like that's not the one you have to take. Like I am also in the herd, but I'm little ahead of the herd because I have gone through the compendiums and the weekly magazines and so on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. From which resources should we practice GK? Kavya?
So, first of all, as I said, newspapers worked out the best for me, and also some online other resources. But IMS compendiums get you the summary. I mean, the weekly new things that we get, and also the compendiums. And we have static GK across various topics as well. So that helps you a lot throughout. So these were my sources.
Okay. So now let's talk about the interview process. And of course, we will be taking questions in between all these sections. So don't worry, all your attendees, your questions will be answered by our panelists. So, so tell us something about the selection process, as in the personal interview. First of all, is there any is there a percentage cutoff, like a rough number or like something that for okay, everybody is like nodding. No. Okay. All right. So let's talk about then the selection process, as in the personal interview, the group discussions. What were the topics in which the questions were asked? So any tips? So one tip each for the PI. Okay. So yeah, Tejas, you can start, then Kavya, then Divyansh, then Mahendra. Your personal experience, the questions that were asked. I don't know, Mahendra and Divyansh, if you guys remember the questions that were asked, but yeah, you guys can definitely give the tips for sure. Yeah. So Tejas, yeah.
Sure. So two things are very important in any MBA, or not just the MBA placements interview. Even as you go ahead, these two things will be very helpful for you. And we've realized this after a grueling few months that one, keep one very interesting story about you that you can discuss in your MBA, in your B school interview.
Yeah.
Because you just need to hook the interviewers. That's all you need to do. So that's one thing. Keep one very interesting story about you, which is going to keep them hooked. And second, familiarize yourself with at least one global issue. Okay, one global event that's taking place. What are its economic implications? What are its political implications? Because I'll tell you from my personal experience, my interview was not going very well. Right, I had to change my extempore topic as well. I was fumbling here and there, but then we got started talking about the Sri Lankan crisis, and I spoke with the interviewers for that around for 20 minutes, and that is where I knew that okay, yeah, I might stand a good chance here. So one interesting thing about you, let them know that you are an interesting person with a personality who deserves to be in IIFT. And one global issue, familiarize yourself with it very well and keep your own thoughts and opinions about it, because that will definitely impress the interviewers.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. Great. Kavya.
Yeah, so adding on to what they just said, we fill a CV form. We have a set of questions that we need to fill before we go into the interview.
Okay.
So what I'd suggest is that you need to be very thorough with what you're writing. Oftentimes that there's a certain gap between the CV that you submitted and when your interview calls comes up. So people have forgotten what they were asked. So you need to be very thorough with it. Firstly.
Yeah.
And secondly, what I'd say is again, my summer process helps me through it too. If you're mentioning something, make sure you know the in and out of it. I mean, you cannot be very superficial about something that you said as your strength. Suppose mythology. So if you like mythology, have a close end, like you're into the Mahabharata era or the Ved and all. Just have an end to it.
Right.
Can't keep it close ended, otherwise you're missing your chance for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Divyansh.
Yeah, so at least in my case, what happened during the PI is that I was asked this particular question that I had filled in the CV form, one of the key economic, you can say, events that has happened in the last 6 months. And whatever answer that I mentioned at that point of time, it was mostly around the defense deal that India had signed with Russia for the S-400 missiles. And I was out, I mean, I had read about it quite a lot, quite a number of times. And then the panelists, they drilled in deep, they asked me questions around it. They asked me about what was the temporary budget, that there was an interim budget that was passed at that point of time
Okay.
during the interview. And they asked me about that. So from these two questions itself, you guys can make out that you need to be very much well versed about what is happening in and around whatever you're mentioning on the form, because whatever you mention, you might very well be grilled around with, right? So by
Okay.
grill, I don't want to scare you guys. What I mean is that they might
Yeah.
just go in deep because they want to verify if you're writing the right thing or not, or if you know about it or not, right? Because say if I mention about the S-400 missile systems, and if I don't know about what exactly the deal was around, what was the amount, or
Yeah.
was it a success or not, have we already transactioned it, what is the number of units that we are procuring, so all these minute details should be there in your mind, right? Else you should not be mentioning that point altogether.
Right.
Please
Okay.
mention only those points which you are very sure of that you can defend when during the interview, because the panelist will be sitting in front of you. So it'll consist of an alumni who will be a senior person in leading industry forum. In my case, he was a chairman at the Tata Sons, right?
Okay.
And we had two faculty members as well, and both of them were very senior faculty members.
Okay.
I cannot recall that designation, but then yeah, I mean, all these people are very learned people. If you get to learn from them, once you're within the campus, you'll be amazed by the kind of knowledge that they bring in the table. So you can't mess around saying stuffs here and there,
Yeah.
be very focused in your answer. Give a very focused answer. So that is something that really helps you. Even when
Yeah.
you're filling the form, you have those word limits, right? That in 120, 150 words.
So you have to be very concise also
Yes,
with
yes.
all
It's
your
better.
information.
It's better rather to be concise than speaking something that you
Correct.
might regret while sitting in the interview with questions around it, right? So
Yeah.
and I feel that while you're giving in any interview, be sound confident, because if you sound confident, then that immediately gives an impression that okay, this person knows or owns whatever he writes or whatever he speaks. That I believe is something that actually helped me during my interview.
Okay. Okay. And also not to stick to only headlines when you're reading newspapers. Please
No,
read the entire
no, no,
news
no,
and
no.
then, go on, continue page number 6, read the whole thing, whatever is there
In fact,
about the news.
citing numbers and
Yeah.
citing the right numbers is
Mm-hmm.
what makes the difference. So I
Correct.
know this very good friend of mine who have
Yeah.
scored 99 plus percentile, right? And
Okay.
uh, uh, he was in a dead scared position. The only reason being that he had cited a very wrong number.
Okay.
I believe Mahendra knows about the friend that I'm referring about. So,
Okay.
so yeah, so the only reason that he was dead scared that if IFT will be converted or not, because he had cited one of the numbers wrong in the interview and the panelist had caught that. Okay, so
Okay. Okay.
be
Yeah.
very
So
sure
be
that you're
very
not going
careful.
to the
Correct.
headlines. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mahendra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mahendra, your
So,
experience. Yeah.
firstly, I'll just like as adding on to the Divyan's point. So
Mm-hmm.
before you go into a panel, you should know who and all the panelists will be. So there'll be one senior most professor,
Okay.
one assistant or associate professor, and one or two alums, and
Okay.
on basis of the availability. And it's not like several CAT or CAP interviews will have this time limit, but IIFT does not have any time limit. Like
Okay.
it goes from, I've seen an interview within the same batch from 10 minutes to 70 minutes. So it
Okay.
depends upon how well you are confident about your CV or the questions that you answer.
Okay.
Then moving on to second thing. So my own experience was like whatever the hobbies also you explained, right? You express yourself honestly.
Correct.
So I know volleyball very well. So the very next question was, what's the average size of the volleyball or volleyball court? You can't just say कि,
Okay.
let's say उधर पांच ऐसा नहीं. Like you need to be very specific about, or you
Yeah.
can like I was correct during that time. Then the next question was, who is the famous Indian international volleyball player? I was like, I don't know.
Okay.
Just like so, even if you go wrong, like the one Divyansh was mentioning, so assume if you know that the very next instance you said something really wrong, you accept it. You just not to carry forward the story. Like,
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
I guess I was wrong. I'm sorry for that, or I'll get to know about it. Or be very acceptant ki what is the right thing. Okay. So in that way, so the urge to learn things will be the one of the criteria that every academician will see in their students, right? It's not like whatever he says is right. You just need to listen. That is more important. And apart from that, like the general PI tips and all will be given by MS, like
Yeah.
how the body posture and all. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, but so tell me something. If since IIFT is an MBA in international business, so do you think the general knowledge and also the preparation, obviously, the when you're preparing for the general knowledge section, you're also kind of preparing for your interview, right? Because the questions will be asked even from there. So, but are the questions more towards business and economics, or is it also like, if you guys are from engineering background or from finance? Okay, finance is pretty much like in that group. Yeah, but like from engineering and all, do they ask, say somebody is a chemical engineer, will they ask something from their CV, which is something to do with an internship or a project that they took, that they handled, or is it mostly going to be business related? So the preparation should be more skewed towards business instead of generic.
I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I'm a production engineering, so and then I worked in a core operations profile. So my questions were based upon what I as a employee of the company is doing, and whether I am in a position to think globally. So
Okay.
whether, if any chance, so the question was, assume Mahindra hypothetically 5 years down the line, will your company be able to generate certain trade for India,
Correct.
or will you say yes or no for that? So similarly, assume some chemical engineering who is working in Dow Chemicals or somewhere as a graduate engineer trainee. His day to day job is to assign certain works and get things done. But he has to understand the entire business as that, okay, whether we will be able to contribute certain countries' trade, or whether
Okay.
he's understanding the trade. What is trade? So they are not expecting you to give the right answer, but then you just need to understand the business. So it's like know the process but not the detailed process.
Okay. Okay.
Or point that I would like
Yeah.
to add over here is that whatever you're mentioning in your CV, you have to be through and through with the whatever you're writing, be it even a single pointer, right? So in my case, I am a triple A engineer, and post that I was working with Accenture for a period of 2 years. Now, I had mentioned about Agile, so they did question me around Agile, if you
Okay.
bought it or not, right? Because I had
Okay.
also mentioned that I had a Agile certification as well. So
Mm-hmm.
at times these questions can come, but this was not the case with the other people who were sitting with me for the interview. So
Okay.
it just happened with me. So let's say that it was like a one-off instance, but that basically shows that there is no consistency with respect to what questions are going to be asked. So you need to be prepared with whatever you have mentioned in your CV form initially, and the CV that you have also going to share with the panelist. So
Okay.
both those things should be there in the back of your mind, that if any questions comes in from either of the scenarios, you're able to answer it confidently enough.
Okay. Okay. There's a question about how much in total we should score in order to get 98 to 99 percentile. Can anyone answer?
No, I don't think so. It's a out of scope question, to be very honest. No one can
Okay.
give a certain
It
answer
depends
to
upon
it.
several
Okay.
categories like difficulty of that year, how many people are writing, how everyone is writing. So like we
Correct.
as aspirants solving several DILR, like you should understand these
Yeah.
constraints as well.
Okay, there's a question about, obviously, people would be asking a lot about score. If one is scoring 50 to 60 in CAT, do they have scope for a 99 percentile in IIFT, given that the exam is relatively on easier side of CAT?
Okay.
Who will answer? Okay,
How
Tejas or Kavya, who would answer? One from the
I'll
kind
take
student.
this one.
Yeah, okay, Kavya.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It is a very relative term. I mean, it's very relative.
Yeah.
And 50 to 60 percentile, I don't think that is at all, assuring of anything. You can score more, also you can score on the lesser side also. But it's ultimately upon your preparation. When we say it is an easier paper, it doesn't mean that you will
Yeah.
definitely score a lot in the paper for sure. It's just
Okay.
that CAT has sectional timings. We have the freedom to move around sections of a year. So that makes it a little easier and also
Yeah.
gives you an upper hand in scoring more in this
Okay.
exam. However,
Okay.
that is not a guarantee to anything, is
Okay.
what.
Okay. Yeah. Tejas, there's a question about this one is for you. CAT versus IIFT in terms of difficulty level for Quant, DLR, VRC, or the GK section. Yeah.
So let's go one by one. For quant, I think, see guys, what quant is a very objective thing, right? I mean, what you know, what you don't know, you don't know. And yes, I would say the quant for IIFT is a bit easier than CAT.
Okay.
One, because you can always switch between sections, right? So if anytime if something strikes, you can come back and finish it off. And the question difficulties overall would certainly be lower. I cannot say the same for DILR because from a personal standpoint, my preparation for DILR was focused completely on CAT, right?
Okay.
And the CAT DILR section is entirely different. Your mind works in a different way. It's a lot about huge puzzles that you need to break down and bring to 4 or 5 answers, right? For
Okay.
IIFT, the DILR was different. I'm not going to say easy or I'm not going to say difficult. It was different. And my mistake was that I was not familiar with that as well as I should have been. Right? My focus had been on CAT and my preparation was for along those lines. So here the DILR was certainly a bit different. There was a bit of verbal logic as well involved. But I had
Okay.
not practiced that as well. So for DILR, very strong suggestions. Go run through every single paper you can find and practice all DILR questions. Because from what I've been informed by people who did prepare very well for DILR, it is easier, a bit easier because it takes up less of your time in the exam. And it is
Okay.
somewhere you can score a lot. So focus on it and treat it different but not difficult.
Okay. Okay.
Coming to VARC, for me, VARC was a bit easier for IIFT. One,
Okay.
again, because of the time saving factor. In
Mm.
CAT, we have at least 3 to 4 passages that we have to read, and that personally, it drains me a lot. And I know a lot of people who will get drained by it. So by the time you reach the end, right, you don't have the energy in you to do the jumble sentences and the easier parts of the paper.
Okay.
You don't have that in IIFT. In IIFT, that becomes a bit easier, right? The passages are not as complex. The question types from passages are a bit more objective, right?
Okay.
But once again, you need to be familiarized with it because it is different. And different is, if you don't prepare for it, different will be difficult in the exam if you just go into it blindsided. So you don't want to be blindsided. So
Correct.
again, I would say that IIFT, all three of these would certainly be a little easier, but go in without any preparation specifically for this exam, then no, it'll be a very difficult chance for you to get through.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Okay. Let's move to the next section, which is all about academics. And again, the current students will be asking you more questions because seniors, you guys will get a lot of questions from the placement section. Yeah. How the subjects, the electives, and all are different in this program vis-a-vis any other program like from IIMs and all that. Yeah, like a PGTM or a yeah. So, okay, Kavya, you can start. Tejas, you can pitch in.
So, as we all would agree, our degree is similar to those of that is being offered in other colleges as well. It's just that we have the international business, and also we being taught all of these subjects with that perspective. So similarly, whatever subjects such as marketing, accounts, and other that we taught, we also get being offered the international perspective of it. So that
Okay.
if we studying marketing management, I have that in my tri semester too. I think these
Okay.
all of us do.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we studying international marketing management in this semester. So we getting the worldwide perspective of it, and
Okay.
eventually this is what we able to leverage in whatever processes and also during the placements. helps us
Okay.
out to uh, help those companies with those perspectives.
Okay. Okay. Tejas, yeah. You want to add something? The subjects and all, yeah.
Definitely. So I think
Yeah.
one very distinct factor about
Mm.
this college is that what is not offered in other colleges, that we get an opportunity to major in trade, right? A
Okay.
lot of the other most of the other colleges who don't have this, but in
Mm.
IIFT you get to one of the majors available is international trade,
Okay.
and I think that in itself is a very unique part of the curriculum, because right now I think the first core trade subject that we have is in this trimester, that's international trade,
Okay.
and I think it's a very, very interesting subject.
Mm.
Honestly, it is not something that I had expected, because we don't prep for this in an MBA interview, right? Nobody's going to ask this for the B school interview. It's my first
Okay.
time experience with it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
having never considered trade, after just 5 weeks of this trimester, I'm ready to think about going down that line, because that's how interesting it is becoming to me, right? And
Okay.
to add
Okay.
on to what Kavya said, the international
Mm.
perspective.
Mm.
Everything that we read, I would say that 70% of our curriculum would overlap with any of the other MBA, solid core MBA programs. But
Mm.
what we add to this is how we approach the curriculum in the class itself. What
Okay.
are the case studies that we read? Okay, which case
Mm.
studies we discuss, and from what perspective do we discuss? The
Mm.
frameworks that we study, the approaches that we study, the terminologies, the technicalities, whatever we
Okay.
study, that does have an international edge to it. So there's
Mm.
a sense of globalization in the way that whatever you're studying, right, the things that you're being taught here,
Mm.
these are as valid outside the country, when you
Mm.
are dealing with other people, dealing with other markets, dealing with products, as they would be in India, right?
Okay. Okay.
And that, I think, helps us a lot as we go ahead. And I think, if it's okay, I'd just like to address one more
Mm.
question that I saw. Does MBA and IB give one more chances to work abroad? I would
Yeah.
not
Mm.
say that, but
Mm.
I think definitely Divyansh and Mahendra would be better
Mm.
equipped to help you there.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would say that not opportunities to work abroad, but the opportunities you might get would be in domains that a lot of people don't have access to,
Okay.
and that makes the MBA IB profile a very interesting one.
Okay. Okay. So are you talking about, so the electives are definitely different. Are the core subjects also different? So you are actually getting more, so, okay. So since it is focusing on international business and you are getting more, subjects that you are studying in real time, trade and all. So that does bring me to the question that I'll be asking Mahendra and Divyansh in the placement section, during the how it's giving an edge in the job market, because obviously, it's a very different. So yeah, so I'll take that question in the placement section. But first, tell me about the student exchange program. Is there a student exchange program? How does it work? Okay, Kavya, can you talk about it? And Tejas,
Kalyani,
yeah, please add. Yeah, Mahendra, yeah.
one quick thing before we jump onto this.
Yes,
So, like
yes.
in general, if we have to compare any IIM or XLRI to IIFT
Mm-hmm.
courses,
Yeah.
there'll be the core subjects of marketing manager there, financial management there. But IIFT
Right.
will have an additional courses in first and second trimesters, like along with that, international marketing
Okay.
manager, international financial manager,
Okay.
financial management.
Mm.
And apart from that, there is a set of pool of electives which are only offered in IIFT, which are
Okay.
related to international trade, logistics, or trade. So
Got it.
these
Yeah.
set of differences will be
Mm,
sufficient enough
mm,
to
mm.
choose.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Mahendra. Yeah. Kavya and Tejas, please talk about the student exchange program. Any information that you guys have, and Divyansh and Mahendra, please pitch in whatever extra information. Yeah. Kavya.
Yeah. So I think after 2 years of COVID, we are the batch that we get
Yeah.
that is getting the opportunity to go
Yay.
abroad. So,
Absolutely. Lucky you
yeah.
guys. Yeah. Okay.
So we have a list of colleges based mostly in Europe, in France,
Hmm.
such as Isaac,
Hmm.
Rennes, Strasbourg, and
Okay.
also we keep coming up with new associations. So
Hmm.
in order to be eligible for that, in the first trimester itself, the application opens up,
Hmm.
and the after we're done with our exams, there's a panel from the college itself that specifically caters to this process. So
Okay.
once you've applied for it, there's an application procedure that you need to go through, and
Hmm.
then there's an interview process. So there are various parameters upon which you would be judged. Of course, your interview would matter there as well. And accordingly, there's a list that comes out, and those people, they have to give their preferences, and as per their performance and the score in the various parameters, they get allotted to various preferences and also the colleges that are there. So that is how it goes on. And once you're done with it, you go through the processes. And in the trimester three, the students go abroad and serve their trimester three as there as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Tejas, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think most of it has been covered by Kavya, and I'm not very familiar with the exchange process because I did not apply, so the nitty-gritties are unfamiliar to me. But the exchange program was like it was mentioned, right, in the third trimester. And the curriculum, so the best part is, I think there are no extra credits that you need to do here or there to balance out your entire credit grade, right? So that is one thing that's very important. When you go there, what you study there and what you score there is what will come back to your college here. So there's no effort involved. I think personally, the experience would be a great one, right? Because you get interacting with a global community there. So I think that builds good character. Another good thing is that in the exchange program, certainly we host other students as well, right? So we too are hosting a couple of students right now, and I think that's really fun to interact with them, because how education is approached in India, how MBA is approached in India is certainly different from how it is done elsewhere. Right? We not just the rigor, not just the curriculum. A lot of it is different. It's just as something as simple as the attitude also matters when it comes to how you're learning to be a manager. So I think those are some interesting aspects of the exchange program, and certainly people who would be interested, they should definitely apply to it. It'll be a lot of fun, to be very honest.
Yeah. Okay. Does IIFT offer ACCA qualification?
ACCA is an accreditation that is IIFT already into. So like that will be there. Like once we have the logo on our degree, it is obviously there.
Oh, okay.
And adding to that student exchange program, so there'll be three panelists. One will be a known panelist of faculty who have already taught a subject to you. Two will be two new faculties who haven't taught anything to you, but then they will judge you on basis of a short interview. It is not like an IIFT, it is a timed interview. You will have only 15 minutes of time. And you have to choose three preferences out of the existing pool of colleges. And it's the same waitlisting happens like how you waitlist in pre-MBA stage. And pros and cons of a student exchange program goes like this. Pros are like you will have the international community and all that is an added advantage in your CV, as in your profile looks like you have been into an international visit for 3 months. And you'll have a chill and fun life during your MBA, which is not possible at all in Indian B schools. But then cons are like in IIFT alone, so you will not be allowed to take certain position of responsibilities, because during that time there are certain elections or selections happen, like for the student council or placement committee. You will not be able to part of, you cannot take part of those. So you need to choose. It's not like it's not an easy decision, because I was into that, so I choose another side. That's a different thing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's now talk about the next section, which is all about placements and internship. Okay. Now, Kavya and Tejas, you guys have gone through the internship selection process, right? But the internship will be, of course, next year. So if you guys can just take us very briefly through the internship process, and then we are going to get into placement. Yeah. So Tejas, yeah, you can answer.
So, guys, I am currently placed at ITC. I'll be interning in the April of next year. The placement process is so I cannot reveal. There's a lot I cannot reveal about the placement process. Everybody here understands that.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most rigorous experience of your life that you'll ever go through. And once you're through that, right, there's very little that can break you in life.
This you're talking about internship.
Yes, I'm talking about the internship process, which so I'll put it this way, our our placement process sort of started the day that our classes started. Even
Okay.
in fact, one day before. So
Hmm.
the entire preparation schedule, right? So the best thing about IFT, I find, and I'm sure this is a legacy that's there in other schools, B schools as
Hmm.
well, that
Hmm.
the seniors are very involved in the juniors placement process, right?
Yeah,
They
Mahindra,
help us in
Divyansh, are
between.
you guys involved in the juniors? Yeah.
Sure, they were. Because
Okay.
that's the
Right.
culture here at IFT. Because seniors have been through it.
Okay.
They
Hmm.
live up to their responsibility of helping us. So
Okay.
there's an entire preparation schedule planned by the seniors that starts from day one itself
Hmm.
until the day that the last student is placed. There's a lot of assignments. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to learn.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have a lot of open GD sessions. We have PI sessions. So everything has a schedule here at IFT for preparing
Okay.
for the placement session. And
Hmm.
whatever time you get for yourself, I think that is the time devoted to learning more about the companies that come to IFT. Because that's a
Okay.
very important aspect whenever you sit in an interview to know more about which companies you want to go to, why do you
Hmm.
want to go to them. I think it's very important question that will come up in a lot of interviews.
Okay.
And the preparation is such that it prepares you not just for the content that is going to be asked in the interview, it
Hmm.
builds a lot of character.
Hmm.
And once again, there's a lot that I don't want to spoil for the audience here, because this is
Hmm.
an experience that if I tell you,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
not going to be fun for you anymore.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Let's not spoil it for them.
Yeah.
Divyansh, Mahindra. Okay. Let's talk about placements then. That of course, we can of course, talk about it a bit, because that will probably inspire people to get into IFT. Okay. So, Divyansh, if you can just talk about your placement experience and your placement process, as in the overall generic placement process, and your personal experience of how you got placed. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
And Mahindra, for you, it's a list of recruiters who are probably coming. And yeah, also that other question about Delhi,
Yeah, sure.
Kolkata. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, so
Yeah.
in my case, first of all, I'll just talk about. So I have done my majors in sales and marketing. So I'm
Mm,
a finance guy, to be very
mm,
specific.
mm,
And I actually did my summer internship from Shell.
mm,
So, like rightly pointed out by Tejas, the entire process was pretty grueling for us. In our
mm,
case, our first TRISEM exams had just concluded, and it was the very next day that the placement started, right? And the
mm,
final paper for me was finance. So, you can imagine the scenario then.
mm,
But the thing is that yes, there will be, in my case, at least from a final placement perspective, I believe that
mm,
will be something that people will be more interested into. Even during the final placements as well, there will be multiple companies that will be coming in on the same day, right? So it'll be like a back-to-back interview process.
mm,
That is something that the preparation committee will be getting into, and they'll be teaching you on to how to deal with that pressure, because those sessions essentially will happen the later half of the night, maybe
mm,
once you're done with your classes and
mm,
everything else.
mm,
So those processes or those little things that happen, right, during the placement during the preparation committee sessions,
mm,
starting right from GD to PI to the HR compendium that they help you prepare, right? The HR answers with what you should give, the CV preparation, because obviously, I mean, while you're getting into IIFT, I'm pretty sure the CV will be looking really bad, if I have to be very blunt about it. And
mm,
then once you're here, then they actually teach you on, what are the mannerisms, the way in which you write it down on the CV, because all those
mm,
matter, right? At the end of the day, the recruiter is going to look at your CV first and then probably look at you, right?
mm,
All those things come in picture. So obviously, there's the process goes by like, there'll be a initial shortlisting, depending on XYZ factors, which till date, I mean, if you ask, ever since IFT was established, nobody
mm.
was able to pinpoint this one particular factor on which the shortlist comes by, right? It's
Okay.
just
Mm,
to all of us.
mm,
Secondly, once the shortlisting is done, so in majority of the cases, it'll start off with a GD, and after a GD, there'll be 1, 2, 3 rounds of interviews, depending on whichever company is coming in. I believe Mahendra will be pointing out the number of companies. He was the Qualcomm guy.
Yeah.
So, and I was the Qualcomm guy. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I should be speaking too much around it. I'll let Mahendra handle it.
Okay.
But then,
Okay.
yeah, from my personal perspective or my personal interview experience was that, a lot of questions during my final placements were out of my curriculum as well.
Okay.
During the internship, it's mostly focused upon what work did I did, if I had any work experience in the past. If I didn't, it'll somehow be, a bit more HR centric kind of a question that you can expect. They'll be looking for the cultural fitness part, if you are fit for the company, fit for the organization, if you have that zeal to learn, and obviously what are your learnings till date, till that point, as soon as you have entered into the MBA college, and irrespective of whatever bachelor degree you have done.
Okay.
So it hardly matters. I'm speaking on behalf of a very generic kind of a placement scenario, not for an engineer or a non-engineering background scenario. Okay.
Okay.
So now the idea is that you should be, while you're here in the campus, you should be very thorough with the case studies. You should be very thorough with your HR answers. You should know what to speak, when to speak, and how much to reveal in front of a certain recruiter. All those things help. And obviously, I mean, you should not be bogged down if you have a bad day, because in GDs there can be scenarios wherein you basically are not being allowed to speak because you have some really
Yeah.
out of the box or out of the ordinary people sitting there
Correct.
alongside you, right? So in that scenario, I believe the one thing that can bail you out is your presence of mind, right?
Okay.
And that is something that actually helped me in quite a lot of situations, because I mean everyone wants to get placed. Nobody is there to do check
Yeah.
for a certain someone ki nahi bhai tum pehle bol le fir main bolunga, aisa to that's not going to be like I'm going to be the first one, and I need
Yeah.
to make entry points and all those things. So
Mm.
yeah, in GD, like I pointed out even initially, that the more you cite about numbers and the right numbers, obviously, because the other panelists might not
Mm.
be that kind. They might very well point out that okay, there was some error while citing a particular data, right? So be very specific, but if you're able to bring in data points, that really helps.
Okay.
Those were
Okay.
the few things that helped me during my process. And yeah, I was finally placed in a startup called yellow.ai, wherein I was there for I believe around a year before I shifted to Reliance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mahendra. Let's talk about who all are the recruiters who are usually coming to IIFT. Is it more skewed towards uh, business
Specific
and
domain or
economics
something.
and trade and commerce? Is there any international recruiters
Campus.
also coming in? And also, of course, Kolkata and Delhi
Delhi.
campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
So,
difficult questions for you.
so before starting off those questions, so as Tejas and Kavya were mentioning, see, every B school has this culture of seniors being involved in juniors preparation because there is this correlation. So by the time of their own batch final placements, their junior summer placements will be done.
Okay.
And on basis of the recruiters who have visited that campus, the chances of the upcoming final placements will increase. So, like, assume if
Okay.
Amazon comes for summer placements, then obviously they'll look up for final placements as well.
Correct.
So it's like an internal business deal, but then seniors do it within emotion. Okay.
Okay.
Then going with first, like, what are the recruiters like? There is this question like, what is the average income?
Yes, yeah. And that will motivate someone
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah. So
If you
it does
answer
motivate
that.
everyone, and because that's the
Yeah,
prime most reason, or
of
one
course.
of the prime buckets why we do MBA.
Of course.
So as per 2022 final placements, so the average CTC is 25 LP. It's CTC. The in hand will vary on basis
Yeah.
of what the company has, several policies and all. And going on with the categories and the firms that come. So like everyone wants a comparison, right? Like you just don't see IIFT alone. So when IIFT is compared with Blackies, I guess everyone knows Blackies. Like so in consulting domain, I'll go domain by domain. In consulting, currently as on today, BCG is not in our placement processes. Apart from BCG, Etikani, these are the only two that doesn't come. But rest of all the big consulting comes consulting
Okay.
firms do
So your
come for.
Bain and all, they're all
Yeah,
coming.
Bain comes, Deloitte, EY,
Deloitte.
KPMG, PwC,
Okay.
and there are several around 14 odd consulting firms. Like there are specific consulting firms like supply chain oriented, GEP,
Right.
Thought-centric, everything comes.
Mm.
Then moving on to strategy and Genman roles. So the roles which offered at IIM Kozhikode are same. So firstly, a disclaimer,
Okay.
see,
Yeah.
there is no role differentiation across Blackies and IIFT.
Okay.
So I work in Deloitte and my colleague is also from IIMK and we are on the same designation, same CTC.
Okay.
Just stating the facts. Then moving on to marketing. See, in general, marketing is not a domain where they'll come for final placements. It's a domain where they pick people during summer placements and they offer more PPOs. So that's like pre-placement offers is the prime thing for marketing firms. And if not summer placements, they'll go for a competition. Like there are several competitions of every marketing firm. And so that is like most of the marketing, if you're marketing into, you need to crack your summer as well or a competition. So there'll be very skewed, as in very less amount of marketing companies visiting a final, like you will see L'Oreal or all these big, Mars or ITCs, HUL, everything in summer placement reports of every campus. You will see the same in final placements, but not exactly the final placement because they are visited. It's because people have gained the PPO. Then moving on to finance roles, every bank comes. But the additional thing that IIFT has is every bank has this trade finance department or international finance department. These are the specific roles which open only at IIFT. And like there are several alum who I know who work in Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and they move to an international role after a certain time.
Okay.
Then operations is like every company comes. There is no specific thing like this doesn't come. Okay. And the one big thing of international trade and trade roles. See, I'll be really honest. I'm not sure whether Kavya or Pages also know about this. Till 2016, we used to get 10 to 11 trade companies. But till 2021, like me and Divyansh, we had only one or two. But and now later on, like the batch after that have got 4 to 5. Like now it started to grow again. Why? Because the amount of trade is increasing. And so generally, what is the role that in trade, like if a company related to trade comes, what is the role? So initially you'll join as a a designation of manager, but within 4 years or 5 years you'll be handling balance sheet of a commodity or a country head. So 5 years down the line, that will be the growth. And the amount of CTC will be way higher than the Indian companies. Just to quote 156 LPA or 83 LPA or 1 CR. So yeah, these are the offers.
Great.
And placements and companies. Yeah, Delhi versus Kolkata.
Yeah.
Okay. So during till 2021 or 2020, the ratio was, assume if 100 companies is being hosted, there might be 10% of the companies which doesn't open for Calcutta. But then it is growing now. So as in Calcutta is being included and IIFT is being as a single brand. So if we see,
so but the students from the campus, from Kolkata campus, they come to Delhi for
so the placements happen entirely
at the
in Delhi in
same
offline scenario. If it is like until unless you guys are unfortunate that COVID hits again and everything goes online, then it's the same platform where every application is seen for every student. And now the current percentage is around, there are very like I am not supposed to tell the names of the recruiters, but then it's just 5 to 6% of the entire pool of recruiters. Then roles are covered, CTC is covered, companies is covered.
I think you have covered all questions.
The one single question, one single thing that I'll point out is see the processes that these people have said it is rigorous and all. See, every MBA college will have that experience.
Exactly.
IIFT has one differentiating point, that is, so every B school will select their, assume if someone from like assume Kalyani is the next aspirant who joins IIFT, you will be selecting your own placement in the first trimester itself in another B schools. But in IIFT, it happens in a different way. So for the entire first trimester, there will not be any junior placement committee. So
Okay.
you will observe your own batch, and then you will choose a placement committee in the TRISEM. So that's the
Okay.
only differentiating point that IIFT puts it. Yeah.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Great. Thanks, Mahendra, for that information. Okay, let's take quickly one or two questions, and then Kavya and they just you guys will show two photos maybe from the campus, and then one tip each. So yeah, how placements? Okay, yeah, how placement and internship opportunities come out differently for a fresher and for an experienced candidate. So does it matter really? Tejas, can you take it? Can you take this question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Divyansh pointed this out earlier, right? Throughout
Mm-hmm.
since the existence of Indian B schools, or for
Mm,
that matter, no one has been able to point out what exactly do they
mm.
look in the CV that takes you to a GD. So
Correct.
that logic holds here
For
as well.
even for them.
The
Okay.
point is that, so I will space specifically for the internship process, and this is
Mm,
something that has been reiterated to us by everyone. There
okay.
is a lot of randomness involved, right? It does
Okay.
not matter what you have done before. It does not matter where, what kind of work you've done, what background you come from. Nobody has been able to figure out what is it that gets you through that GD, right? So your work
Mm,
experience, you're fresh. If you're a fresher, that really does not matter except in a very, very few cases. That is, let's say the big three. When they
mm,
recruit, yeah, some companies do have a criteria that they take
mm,
above minimum age limit or minimum work experience. But other than that, your placement opportunities, and not just that, when you sit at the table of a GD or when you sit in front of a panelist for a PI, there are going to be very few instances where they're actually differentiating whether you're a fresher or whether you're an experienced professional. So
mm.
it does not, especially at this internship stage, it does not really take away or give you a certain leverage. So you don't need to
Okay.
be afraid of that.
Okay. Okay.
One very
Yeah.
important thing to note
Mm,
over there is that, while you are appearing even during the final placements as well, right? A few
mm,
companies definitely will come in with
mm.
tasks like, say, up to 2 years of experience or maybe above 2 years of experience, right? So those kind of differentiators will definitely be there irrespective of whichever B school you get into.
Mm,
So the idea is that, rather than focusing on things that are not in your control, you focus on
mm-hmm.
things that are in your grasp. That is,
Okay.
you receive a shortlist, you convert it, you get through, you basically sign yourself out,
Mm,
have a chill life, go on
mm,
some trip, probably with your friends, or
mm.
help your friends out once they are placed, go on a trip with them again, right? So that
Okay.
is how you look
Yeah.
at it, rather than
Yeah.
thinking about things that, okay,
Mm,
if I'll get a shortlist
correct.
on
Yeah.
how many companies are going to shortlist me, let's not
Mm,
get there, right? The idea is to
enjoy the
like,
process.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, don't think around things which are not in your control. So one thing that
Mm,
I definitely realized is shortlist is not in my control. I won't be thinking around it. The moment I
mm.
get an opportunity in a particular company, I'll be focusing my entire 100% on that particular opportunity itself.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
really helps you.
Mm.
That also
Kavya, you want to say something? You
Yeah,
want to say something? Yeah. Yeah.
adding on to Divyansh and Tej's point,
Mm,
I'll talk about SIP. So I've been through
mm.
that.
Yeah.
So one factor that we need to consider is that internship is one of the major components, and you're here to learn.
Okay.
So you do not need to be you do not need to get into the process with the thought that I'm a fresher, I'm a work ex
Mm,
person with a work ex.
mm,
So that will come on later into final placements as
mm.
what we understand.
Yeah.
Here they consider you on a platform, and as a person who's just come into B school and they're trying to learn and gauge what will come in along the way.
Right.
So
Right.
these factors are totally out of our control.
Mm,
And Divyansh said that get a shortlist, work, research about the company, work on your HR answers, and convert it. It's
mm,
then a ball is then in their court whether
mm.
they want to keep it or
Okay.
give.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 Kavya, you can share your screen now for photos, then Tejas. While Kavya is doing that, Mahindra, can you answer this question about the ROI, as in, how much time does it take really for somebody to pay the student loan and live a life and finally start to make profit?
It depends, okay. Like,
Yeah.
it depends is the best answer that anyone can give. But then
Yeah.
I'll just give the
Okay.
numbers, but then you guys can calculate. So student
Yeah.
loan is given in a range of 7.5 to 9% interest rate, and
Okay.
fees of IIFT cumulative of 2 years is around about 21L. And see, taking a worst case scenario, you get a offer below the average salary, like 25 stands now. 2 years down the line, it will obviously increase to 28. Still, you get a 21 LPA package. Okay. So with a fixed of 18 or 17, maybe, where your in hand will be 1.1 per month, and now you are the person who have to decide. Okay.
Correct.
So 20L is the loan amount with 8% interest. So whether you will be, see, assume if you are working from somewhere in a metropolitan city, your expenses will go around to 50K. So you are left with 50. So you won't put all your 50 into loan, right? So it depends upon that scenario. But then I guess these numbers will give you
Yeah.
a
A
decent
rough
enough calculation.
idea. Yeah. Correct.
So there are certain people of my own batchmates who give, like, they earn around 1.4 per month. They'll give 90K to the loan,
They
and they
just want to
stay in
finish it off. Yeah.
they just
Yeah.
stay in a hostel. But then there
Correct.
is another kind of batchmate who stay in a 3 BHK villa, and then he gives only 30K per month. So it
Yeah.
depends, like.
Right.
Yeah, this is the IIFT campus, and this picture I clicked on day one. So this is the inside of the campus. We have really beautiful skies all of the time. So we keep clicking pictures. So these are basically, on the right side you can see is the boys hostel, on the left side is the girls hostel.
Okay.
This is one of the pictures from our freshers. So we were done with partying and then we were clicking pictures.
Okay.
The sweat station.
This is from the recent Halloween party that we had.
Okay.
We have a lot of amazing events that are going on.
This is which campus?
This is Kolkata campus.
Kolkata campus. Okay.
Yeah. So here's Halloween, which was the 31st. And then this is one of the pictures from Diwali.
Okay.
So most of us stayed on the campus, and then we had really great celebration here. And all of us celebrate all of the events that are there, such as Onam and also other major festivals. People are missing out, these festivals at home. So like, this is your home for another 2 years. So we try to have that experience with our friends over here.
Yeah, so I have a couple of pictures from the Delhi campus,
right? Yeah.
Just a second.
So you guys, so is there any time within those 2 years span that the other than the placement recruitment time that the IIFTK and IIFT Delhi campus comes together? No, you guys don't meet
maybe from 2025 batch or 2024 batch, there'll be a sports meet with including alumni, and then like in that way.
Right.
But we do meet.
But
we do meet online, and
as far as I recall, you were here in the Delhi campus. Because of not sure about the entire Calcutta campus. You were.
Okay, yeah. So this is the Delhi campus. Yeah.
I'm not really good with pictures, but yeah, if you look behind me, so I think this is a very important symbol for IIFT. This is the wings of wisdom. Right through the entry gate, you'll reach this place, and we have this. If you see this platform upstairs, this is the top of the world, right? So yeah, and this is where I think whatever IIFT pictures you'll see online, this is the representation you'll get. It's a very important part of the campus. It's a very important part of our curriculum. And I think there are very interesting stories involved around Wings of Wisdom Tower. Yeah, we'll move on. So I think I just wanted to show, apart from
that's
the curriculum and all. Yeah. So this is not exactly on campus. But now after the placement cycle and all is coming towards an end, right? We are spending a lot of time on sports. In fact, today we will be concluding the UWL, which is the Ultimate Warrior League, which is the sports league organized. So I'm technically a team owner as well. So process is very interesting. You have the entire starting from the auctioning of players, formation of the team, different sports and everything. This was at Janmashtami. We had that entire so we had one for boys, Matki Ford. We had one for girls as well, Matki Ford. So this was part of that. Yeah, this again was the This is the Halloween party at
Oh.
IIFT Delhi campus, and this
Oh,
is
okay.
right in front of the auditorium. We had this. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, brilliant. So this again is a matki food wala photo that was taken. I'm sorry about the resolution, but yeah. So this, this is happening, I believe, since all of us are clean shaved. Yeah. So yeah, this is during our you can say summer placements. Right. So irrespective of the stress, you can see everyone is smiling. I'm not sure if it's painful or good at that moment, but it was a job that we anyway will be parting. So this is how it was.
Yeah.
Other than this, there are a couple of other photos as well. So one of the photos is from one of the events. I believe
Okay.
it was the Johnson and Johnson fight against obesity walk. Okay. So this is the academic block, basically. Right. So all of these kinds of events also do happen, and at times placement committee will be handing it over to Melange that, okay, you basically ensure that everyone is there in place on time, and we are all ready to basically welcome the companies coming in within the campus. So this was one such event. Other than this, we do have Kovadi being a premier cultural.
Yeah, Kumadi.
So that is a really exciting time to probably be at in the campus,
Okay.
because you'll have like a lot of partying happening, a lot of stalls within the campus itself.
Okay.
We have some really good celebrities coming in, like say Jubi Nautiyal. At times we have also had Benny Dayal. During my time, we were able to call him. I am sure that we also had Lucky Ali before we joined. So
Okay.
we have all those kinds of you can say experiences during COVID, which I feel will in you can say in a best way of describing is that your campus life is lit. It's full of fun. So it's not just about the CADs, the rigor. It's also
Correct.
about this part of
Yeah.
it. So you can see really you can see the people are smiling here, right?
Yeah.
Irrespective of the fact that they have been asked to come up, get up. I believe 5:30 a.m. in the morning, report on a certain location. You'll
Yeah.
always see
Yeah.
people being very enthusiastic about it, because that's how MBA life is, right?
Okay, so before we wrap up, just one tip each from all of you. So mostly about test prep, because right now, yeah, that's the thing that is really there on the top of everyone's mind. So maybe, yeah, we can again start from Kavya, then Tejas, then Divyansh, then Mahendra. Mahendra, you can also talk about anything specifically for generally, not just for IIFT, but for any test for that matter, because now there will be a series of tests that they'll be sitting for anyway. So anything that, yeah, even Divyansh, you as well. Yeah, you can also talk about that. Tejas and Kavya, please talk something specifically, tip on IIFT prep. Yeah.
So
One.
one thing that you need to be very careful of is the sectional cutoffs. You need to make sure that you have internal deadlines. And if you want to come into IFT, deadlines are sacrosanct. Okay, so make sure you clear all sectional cutoffs and your just hit for your strengths and maximize the score. And be here, the rest of the interview prep will be taken care of by IMS.
Okay. Yeah. Tejas.
Yeah. So, guys, one very, very simple and important thing that remember when you're before you go into the exam, while you're prepping for it, remember that very few people give this exam. One. So your chances are already good. Okay. You just need to run a little extra. Just imagine that for CAT, you have to learn a lot more than everybody else. For IIFT, you need to run a little extra. And you just need to devote very little time to just figuring out how differently you want to do this from CAT. Please, please do that. It's very important that you have a very structured strategy in mind before you sit for the exam. If you go for it just like you went for CAT or you went for NMAT or you're going to go for SNAP, things are not going to go your way. That 5 minutes before you start writing the exam, figuring out how exactly you want to go ahead, can actually change the outcome for you. So please be ready for that.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah, Divyansh. Although, after seeing this video, seeing this session, maybe, there will be more people filling in the form till 14th and more people will be sitting there for IIFT. Anyway, yeah, Divyansh, yeah.
Yeah, so one very important tip over here is that you should be very particular with what kind of strategy that you go in with, right? So please have that in mind already. Don't wait for the paper to come and then do it, right? Obviously you should now be aware with the kind of papers for various examinations that are there, right? Every different exam has a different kind of a setup for the questions that are there, sectional cutoffs and everything else.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
decide accordingly, strategize accordingly, because that is what MBA is all about, right? It's this moment that you're starting to get into the entire MBA journey. It starts here itself with the test, with the form that you fill, and then after that the test that you appear for, right? These are the first few steps, the baby steps that you take.
Yeah.
And believe me that once you're through this, the life is super great, it's super awesome, it's lit, it's amazing. You are in for a ride, and you'll going to remember this because you'll be a different personality towards the end of it. That is what I can guarantee you. But if you have taken the effort, you have taken the pain till now, don't give up in the last moment, right? Strategize till the last bit of it so that you have no regrets at the end of the day.
Great. Yeah. Mahendra.
Yeah. So one thing is like no one will be able to prepare everything. Okay. So you just need to understand that like now, like I guess two of the panelists have told that deadlines are sacrosanct. So assume if you have a CAT or XAT or any exam, the exam is tomorrow. You have to complete your preparation by today. That's it. Tomorrow, it's not like, hey, I haven't done something in quant. I haven't gone through that logic. See, everyone will get a difficult question, which they will not be able to find the logic. See, it's all about those 3 hours of exam or 2 hours of specific exam. So that test duration is what it all matters. And if you are attending API, only those set of minutes gonna change. So it's not like, see, everyone says that all the preparation will give you the strength to perform in that time, but then stay focused, because it's like the nerve times where anyone can slip, but ensure that you are not slipping.
Correct.
That's the one thing, like all the time stay up in the confidence, not to be overconfident. Even though you haven't studied anything, just ensure that you have given your best in the available time that you have. You might be working, you might be given less marks when compared to some fresher or someone who haven't working and studying all the day. But it doesn't really matter at the end. It's like those 3 hours of CAT or whatsoever the time. I don't really remember for respective exams.
Yeah.
But then while before that, go through the respect to exam specific strategies released by IMS and all.
Right.
So if you're not really aware of, like, assume you haven't given 5 marks of IIFT or NMAT or any exam, go through the strategy videos by experts at IMS. You will understand. You don't really, like, few might not have time to give entire mock of every exam, but then go through those snippets and then ensure you are confident. Don't compare with someone else before the exam. That's it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it was a lovely session. I would like to thank all the attendees, and thank you, Mahendra Kumar Vaivike. Thank you, Kavya Johare. Thank you, Tejas Mishra. Thank you, Divyansh Sandwar. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the information. Thank you so much.